Welcome to the Healer's Corner podcast with your hosts, Melissa Wiles and Maria Cerna.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Here.
Yeah. We were too busy talking about all the fun Tucson stuff coming up, and we're like, oh crap, we're late. Let's hit go live. But we have Maria Celeste back with us for another Close Encounters of Crystal Healing.
Yeah.
You're the gem guru, ma'am.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. You know, it's funny because I was thinking, it's funny you said that. I've been doing what I call Swedish death cleaning, which is major purging so that my family doesn't have to do it. And I have thrown away I won't tell you in dollar amounts, but I have thrown away years and years of classes and notes and more classes and notes. And it dawned on me today as I was thinking about being with you ladies tonight. It's like, you know, I have never thrown away my crystal classes. I've never thrown any of that stuff away. I have all of that. And I went, isn't that telling? Yeah, because it's really the whole, you know, the in-depth study of the chemistry that's in the crystals. Because folks really, in terms of, you know, this is not woo-woo. There really is a science behind this, that if you understand the law of frequency and the law of vibration, that the chemical makeup of the crystals really works with the chemical makeup of our bodies. And it's science. And I just sort of laughed at myself because I was like, I didn't throw any of that, anything that had to do with the crystals, I did not purge. Anything that had to do with the metaphysical or my healing work, I was like, it's all in my head. It's all in my head. Crystal stuff, nope, we're saving that. Saved. We're making room for it in the file. And I'm so glad, as I was getting ready for tonight, I'm so glad I saved it for you, for us, for your audience.
I'm glad you did, because
Yes.
I would love to just sit there and like go through all your notes and like how much are written in the margins versus what's like actually printed as like main topic. And I find that more interesting.
There's in terms of my notes from the classes, and you would be the perfect person for me to leave that to. Thank you. Because I'm like, who's going to want this? So perfect.
Yeah, we'll sort it out and be like, here is the knowledge of Maria Celeste, you know.
Yeah, because I've got no cards about, you know, this crystal has this chemical in it. And yeah, I used to know all the chemical compounds. No, not all of them. That's an exaggeration. But I knew chemical compounds so that I could associate when people would say what healing they needed to be. Well, this has this in it. And that will help you, because it is, our body is like 96.2% chemical. Mm-hmm. And the chemicals in the crystals resonate with the chemicals in our body. And that's where the healing comes from.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so speaking of, we were thinking we would go over Shiva Lingams, Lapis, and Fluorite. Though we forgot to differentiate in the Fluorite. Are we going over Fluorite in general or the different colors of Fluorite?
We could probably touch on both.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. because then you get into the whole frequency of colors and what works with colors and how that works. Like, for instance, like the Fluorite, the purple Fluorite, because of the purple in it, which the chemical in it, there might be a little bit of lithium that's causing it to be purple. And the lithium is very calming. And when you think of amethyst, amethyst is a great stone for healing addictions. That fluorite can also help healing addictions because of the color of the fluorite being purple versus opening up the spirituality, where the blue fluorite would help open up. Somebody was just telling me you talk so fast. See, I talk so fast, I trip over my own tongue. Would help with opening up the throat chakra versus the pink, because there is pink fluorite, versus the yellow, which would work with the different chakras. So you get into the color vibration as well as the fluorite to help strengthen the bone and strengthen the calcium facilities within the body.
I find fluorites really helpful. There's certain colors for like the teeth and, things like that. People are like, I'm having dental work or I'm having issues with my teeth, and it's always fluorite, but I always have to go look real quick. And I'm like, why the color will not stick in my head for teeth? I always end up having to look it up. I'm like, I'll be right back. I have to go look in my book real quick. But,
I would use blue for teeth. I don't know if that's the right color, but that resonates with me because that's close to the throat chakra and it's close to where the verbiage comes out. And it's the teeth.
Makes sense.
I used blue calcite when I was going through chemo, and I would rub it because one of the things that chemos affect is teeth. They don't tell you that anything with the teeth. So the fluoride, I would use the blue fluoride or the blue calcite, and I actually would rub it on my jaw because I lost a tooth as a result of the chemo because of the bone growth. And so the fluoride would help with that. And I physically would rub it on my face.
Like your nighttime ritual. It's my beauty ritual. I have to rub stones on my face.
I know. I have to smell stones. Does anybody else smell stones?
I do.
I love the smell. Yeah. It's like,
I love the smell of the stuff. Rose quartz. I smell it in the morning. My spear. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one that smells stones.
No, you're not.
There's a stone that smells like Crayola crayons, and I choose to remember what stone it is. And I was smelling it. I was going, oh my God, this is Crayola crayons. And I don't know if there's a stone in crayons. I don't know. But this stone, I choose to remember which one it is, smells just like Crayola crayons. It's crazy.
I've not sniffed any of my stones. I'm feeling a little left out now. I feel like I have a new thing to do in Tucson this year.
See what you can do in Tucson. Yeah. It's a very funny thing. I smell my, that's just like, what's this smell like? Because it's so earthy. It's so grounding. It just takes me into the earth, and it's just the geological aspect of it.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm more of like the handsy, the touching. I'm usually picking them up and like holding one, rubbing on it while I'm still looking through the rest of its friends. And any of our local people, if they've ever noticed a lot of our palms or like pillows, like hand size, there's almost always like a thumb spot in there, because that's where I pick them up and I'm like, ooh, thumb spot, we keep. Ooh, another thumb spot, we keep it. So that's my bad. Like, that's how I'm like, well, we keep you too. Somebody else will want to rub the thumb spot. But I have not sniffed my stones.
Yeah. What the visualization I got when you're doing that is your neuron system is communicating with the stone, and it's communicating back with you as you rub it.
I wouldn't doubt it, because
I got that whole visual. I was like, oh, that's how you communicate. And that's how you awaken. For me anyway, as you were talking, I was actually seeing that's how you awaken the spirit within the stone to communicate with you. Do I bring this back? What is this good for? How do I use you? Because we can read all this stuff in the books. And I really encourage your audience, no matter what you read, it's really important for you to connect with the stone, because that stone picks you. You don't pick the stone. Even though you think you're picking it, it's picking you. It connect with that stone because that stone knows how it wants to work with you. And you can read all the books you want, but take time to understand that stone for you, and then go and read it. and see, and you'll find that it's usually what's in the book. But
Yeah.
I really would encourage you to understand, just because azurite's supposed to work with the throat doesn't mean it's not going to help you with the knee, because the knee wants you to move forward and it's going to communicate with your throat to get you to understand, I need to be moving forward and things, and talking about it, and your communication would change as you move forward into being safe, moving forward in your life. So there's different ways. Whoops, sorry, I just hit my computer. There's different ways that a stone will work with you. So I think that's what I got, Melissa, when was that's you awaken the stone spirit, and the stone spirit awakens you, so that communication takes place. It was really beautiful visualization I got as you were talking about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I do that. I do that with the stones in the store. Every so often, I get pulled to a dish of tumblers, and I'm just playing with them.
Yeah, the spirits have called you over there, and to the audience, you don't have to know what that stone does, because the stone knows what it's going to do. You just have to go do your thing. I'm cool with it. We're together. We're friends. That's you do your thing, and I'll just keep you in my environment. Because people will ask, what do I do with this? I bought all these stones. What do I do with them? You don't have to do anything with them. They could just be in your environment and they'll do their thing. Or you can sit with it. You can take it with you. You can meditate with it. And I don't want to say you can put it in water, because we've been through that. Because you want to make sure, there are oils, and there's a whole stuff that could be going on. So you really don't want to just put it in water unless you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of things that you can do or not do, and just love on it and enjoy its beauty and sit it in your.
I mean, I walk around, I got little crystal heads in a pocket every day. I'm like, who's going on a field trip today? Okay, one in here, one in here.
Yeah.
But, going back to the fluorite, fluorite's probably one of the ones to really keep in your environment, because it's a softer stone. So if you're going to carry it with you, you need to protect it, not put it in with your keys, your change. Probably not so much with some of the other stones as well, because it's easy to fracture and to chip aesthetically. I mean, the energy is still going to do what it does, but
I have had people tell me, now I've never had, and it's really curious, because as we were talking beforehand, that the fluorites 20 years ago were absolutely magnificent. The fluorites today are much paler, and the colors are much softer. And I guess we could get into the whole esoteric thing. Maybe we don't need as much fluoride. I'm not sure what that is. Or we have, like our fish supply, we've abused the amount of fluorite, because if fluorite usually is one of the first stones people go to. Fluorite, amethyst, malachite, and rose quartz. Those are usually the first four that newbies to the mineral kingdom usually are drawn to those first. But fluorite, I've never had this happen, but a lot of my clients have said that it will fade, that they've had it fade. I don't know if either of you have had that experience, that it fades in the sunlight.
Yes.
I've never had that.
Yeah, especially in direct sunlight. And actually, one of my other healers, Hank, who's also been on the Healer's Corner with us, he has had like the geometric shapes, and he had used a set in a healing, and by the time he was done, they were pale. They were like a milky pale, lost all of the original color in them. So I was like, well, what kind of energy were you throwing around? And I'm like, those stones did what they were meant to do. But he's like, I've never had that happen in one healing session, where the fluorite just paled out and just became that milky pale, color. No more of the rainbow color was left in those two pieces when he was done working on his client.
Wow.
Well, this is what I'm thinking as you say that, because whatever that body that he was working on, I don't want to say leached it, but in effect actually draw the color out, because the body needed that. So the stone gave up itself to heal that body that he was working on. And as you were saying that, perhaps because fluorite is such an important stone for the health of our bone system and our structure, and if you think about the structure, the stability of your spine and what that represents about being a strong person, maybe we as a mankind, we personally have leached the colors, because think about the fact we're walking on, and this is all coming to me just as you're speaking. So this is thought about it. This is new. That's coming to me as you were speaking, Melissa, with Hank, that here we are, we walk on the biggest crystal. Earth is the crystal. So if you ever need anything, you can just take it from the earth and just say, okay, I'm going into the store. I need hematite. I need labradorite, whatever I need to, whatever it is that I need. And the earth will give it to you. And here we are, a gazillion of people on the earth plane, and us being, there's so much fragmentation going on that we ourselves vibrationally have had to strengthen our own core differently, because society really, there's so much, I mean, you can get into all of that, but what's happening, but we as a society have actually used the colors to help strengthen us, and that's why we've depleted it from it being in the earth. Just an interesting theory. If you understand the law of frequency and the law of vibration, here we are, there's how many more people in mankind on the earth. And fluorite really is a very giving. It really is a very soft stone. It's a very soft, gentle stone, and it's a very giving stone. And so here it is, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. Here it is giving of itself, and yet we as a culture, we as mankind have used up the sources of fluorite. Interesting. And I have, what comes to me is I have saved, and I don't keep many stones. It's a very small, it's like a very small Vogel form of fluorite. That's a very, very deep blue purple. And I've had that probably, I don't know how long I've had that. And I can't tell you exactly where it is, but I find it and go, no, that's not going. And over the years, it's never gone anywhere because it's such a beautiful color. And I'll try to find it. I'm not in my regular home right now, but I'll try to find it and show it to you. And I'm not, they move around and I don't know where I put it. So it's somewhere in the house, but it's beautiful.
You have a partner that likes to squirrel stones away. And
my God. So he's at home, organizing the house. And we had this beautiful ahoite. And if anybody has seen ahoite, it's a beautiful aquamarine bluish color in white. And this particular, he told me where it came from and I can't remember, but another dealer came to the table and we had some beautiful, beautiful tourmalines, and he wanted to trade out a piece of ahoite for our tourmalines. And I was like, yes, because ahoite is like really super expensive. And this tourmaline was super expensive. And so we did a trade. And I thought for 23 years, because it happened very early on in the business, I thought, oh my God, I threw away that expensive ahoite. And he literally just found it last week. He said, you won't believe what I found. And I'm like, I have no idea. Let's not play this game. He's like, do you remember that stone you couldn't find from years? I mean, literally a good 20 years ago. It was when we used to do the show in Greenfield. And he's like, yeah, I found it. It got stuck behind something. And I was so grateful because I thought, oh my God, I threw away this like $10,000 stone because, you get home at night, the boxes are empty and you don't think to check underneath the tissue and you're like, oh, that's an empty box. That's an empty box. I thought, oh my God, I threw that stone away. But Eric just found it.
Yay.
So the squirrel just found it.
Yeah. What was it behind, Eric? What did you put it behind?
Yes, I know. Yes. Yeah. He was organizing his stones and he happened to find it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you for being honest about it.
Imagine that. No, when he said, guess, that stone that you couldn't find for 20 years, I could almost hear you be like, which one? Like, I feel like there's one.
Yeah. Yeah. And he told me, he said, I found a whole bunch of stones we can sell. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
it
you
was
did.
funny. He found some infinite, he found some moldavite, and I'm like, doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Did he find Shiva Lingams? Because that was one of our next stones we were going to talk about.
Yes, the
Shiva
Shiva link.
Lingams.
Yeah. No, he hasn't. Not that he's told me about. But Shiva Lingam is very, very, a very, 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 very special stone for me. And it's going to make me cry. I walked into a healing session. Well, I walked into a weekend that was going to be about crystal healing. And I was doing this for me. And I walked in, and I've seen, I'd go into the store and there was always Shiva Lingams in a bowl by the cash register. And I was like, well, that's not really a pretty stone. And I would be like, that's just a rock. It's not. Sorry, mineral world. Do not come dropping in on me. And so I was just like, no, I don't want that one. No, I don't want those. I want those. And I walked into this healing session, into this healing weekend that was supposed to be in Louisville, Kentucky, but ended up being in Indianapolis. And I wouldn't have gone to Louisville to do this because it was a 3-day workshop. And I walked in, and she had in the center, there was this beautiful Shiva Lingam. And I was like, whoa. It was about this big. And I said to Karen, I want that stone. She said, can you wait? Because I'm using that stone for teaching to the end of the weekend. I said, yes, but I want that stone. And by the end of the weekend, I was like, I want to sell your stones. And I come home and I told Eric, I want to sell the stones. And she actually sold me the Shiva Lingam. And if you understand what Shiva Lingams is a great stone for birthing. And it literally birthed this business for me. So people would come up, and the healing that I've had with it, people would come up and say, we can't get pregnant. What stone would you recommend? And at one time I had a poster board of all the babies that were born because of the Shiva Lingams that we give. And then the pictures got ruined. And so I stopped carrying it around, but people would bring these babies and say, this is the baby. And it was this is Harry, or this is Henry, and this is Lucia, or whatever. And I was like, oh my God. And so it's a beautiful stone for birthing. And it's not just about birthing babies, because it literally birthed my business. And I'm extremely grateful for it. And I would keep that stone. It was a beautiful, beautiful Shiva. And I kept it in my healing center underneath the table so that it would help birth new energy into the person on the table. And when I closed the healing center and brought all of that back to the home, I kept it in a grid in my home with the Shiva and some 4 beautiful points. And I think there was other Shivas around it. And when I knew that we were walking away, it's bittersweet from doing this and my closing the business. And I say that going, am I really closing the business? But anyway, it was time for me to release that. And so at one of the shows, not knowing, she bought the Shiva, and she bought the whole, everything that went with it that I had kept for 23 years, either under the table or it actually held space in my home for the business. And the stones are so cool. You can't make this stuff up. So as over the weekend, and then she came back on Sunday and she said, yes, I want all of this. And I said, okay, we need to set this grid up, and I want to do a ceremony in passing these stones to you because of what they were for me. And so we sat down, and my helpers, we all sat down literally in the middle of the show at our booth. We're sitting down on the floor. I'm like, Eric, you take care of everything because we're doing this ceremony. And at the end of the ceremony, she explained to me that she was taking them to a business that she was starting, and it was a healing center. And I was like, so, the stones have their own little spirits, and they know what they want to do. And the Shiva Lingam really is about birthing. If you understand the shape and the markings of the Shivas, because it's to a true Shiva, they say, is got where it's half brown and half light brown. But I don't I don't get so hung up on that. It's the actual stone and the sacredness of the Shivas. So if anybody's thinking of birthing either a child or a business, the Shiva is a very important stone to have with you.
Now, we were talking before we went live about one of our favorite vendors that we get our Shivas from, and how he was the only one, Mr. Parwar, who has the black ones. Do you want to explain the importance of the all black Shiva?
Yes, sure. It was, and he has to have some kind of special connection to be able to get the black ones out of India, because in India, the Shiva is truly sacred. It sits on a yoni, and there's a daily ritual where you pour milk over it. And the milk is protected. The milk is the female sharing, and there's on the yoni there's a snake that protects the Mother Earth, and the milk, and then goes into to feed the hungry goat. There's all kind. It's the whole Buddhist tradition and Hindu tradition, and they're very sacred. The black ones are very sacred in India. So he was able to release them, and yours truly, being the skeptic that I am, actually, somewhere, if I have it, Melissa, I'll pass it on to you. We actually had a black Shiva cut and tried every which way from Sunday to leach it, to see if it was dyed. Were these dyed? Is it natural? And we spent probably 6 months in vinegar and milk and oil and water and trying to leach the color from it, and we could not. And I've got it cut to show people that it really is black through it. So if I can find it, we cut a small one. But the black Shivas are very sacred to the Hindu religion. And I was told that they were damming up the river where they come from. And my brother was actually there, and he said, yeah, they really are building it, because my brother used to teach in India. He would go over and teach hydrogen in India. And they really are damming that river. So I don't know, because I haven't been out buying so many Shivas, because I love Shivas. I mean, so it's like, I want to take all of them home. And I literally have some Shivas in my house, and we have Shivas in the garden. And I want a Shiva big enough, like this dining room table that I'm at, big enough to sit on out in my yard, but you're not going to roll one of those things home. So the black Shivas are very, very sacred. If you can find black Shivas, I strongly recommend that you take one, or don't take it, but buy it. But because that's what they worship in their temples. The Shivas are actually worshipped in their temples. So
what is the significance of the black versus the brown? Like, what makes them more special?
Maybe because they're rarer. I don't know from the sacredness of that whole religious practice. I can't answer that. I don't know that information. That might be something you ask him this winter when you see him. I will
definitely, like, hey, Parwar.
Why is that? Why is it that it is the black? I don't know. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the one I do have in the house that sits on a yoni, and the one that we have outside that sits on a yoni, both are black. They're both, it's really interesting that they're both black. But the one that I had that birthed the business was the brown, the traditional brown Shivas. I'm trying to tap into that energetically to see what it is about the black. Black absorbs all colors.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to meditate on that and see.
I know we for a while had, and they may still be there. We've been moving things around while doing, inventory, and I'm like, oh, well, let's just shift the display, since, two tasks at once. Why not? Would had like about 6-7 inch black, Shiva Lingams. And, I've heard people like, oh, that's not the real color. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Just, a different color, but it is a real Shiva, even though it is. So
if I can find that black one, I'll give it to you when I see you in April.
Okay.
I used to keep it in the cash box, and it might still be in the cash box.
Okay. But that being said, keeping a Shiva in like a cash box or a money drawer would be a good thing, right? Sure. To keep birthing new sales, new business.
Right. Right.
not just small people. Some of us don't want small people running around. No more of those.
No, that's right. I've got a small person in the other room. That's a huge responsibility. Oh my God. I have a whole new appreciation for you dog owners out there. Wow. It's like, okay, I have to be back from the store. I've got 15 minutes and it needs to go out again. It's like, oh, really, it's just, it really makes me really appreciate, because I've never really taken care of anything all my life. I mean, people say I have, but I didn't birth any kids and I don't have any pets. But I grew up with pets. I grew up with cats. I grew up with dogs. I grew up with birds. I grew up with rabbits. But there was always 10 of us taking care of this thing. It wasn't just I'm the only one. This thing is totally responsible for me.
Relying upon you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, oh crap. Can I just sleep in and not get up at 3:00 to have you go to the bathroom?
Nope.
Oh my God. What happened to being a cat? I understand why people have dog doors. Just go out the door. We don't have a dog.
14 degrees here in Ohio, and I see my poor neighbors walking by all bundled up, walking their dog, and I'm like, that's why I have a cat.
That's what I get it. And, got to go out in the snow, and then you walk out with the umbrella, and I'm like, oh yeah, if I thought about having a dog, I'm done thinking about that. Because I love animals. I love them. And it's been fun, but it's been a whole. And the reason I'm taking care of it is because they're on vacation and they didn't. So it's like,
Yeah, that's why you're not going to be in Tucson with me, because
that is why I'm not going to be. I know. And I'm like, I can't wait for next year when we can go out there together.
So, I'm like, what's the stone this year that, everybody's going to have a ton of, that's been normally hard to get or more rare, but yet
the new find. And it's really interesting from an energetic standpoint is looking at what the stone is and energetically what's going on in the universe, that the universe is like, oh, it's time to release this stone. Because these have been in the earth for how many thousands of millions of years. It's not like but there are some stones that are newly formating, because now that we've I can only imagine with all of the stuff that's going on in the soil, that at somewhere that's got to be morphing into some kind of new crystal that will be way back when, or years from now. But what is it? I always would be like, okay, what is that stone? Why is that stone coming to the earth plane now? And what is it that we as a mankind need that stone is revealing to us? Because there are the three kingdoms. And I've said this to your audience before. There's the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom. And what is it that the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom need that the mineral kingdom is now releasing to us? So it'll be interesting to see because there's always the stone of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, or the second bingo card will be like, what regular everyday stone is going to be presented as something new with a new copyright name
by somebody very special.
I'm like,
no longer listen
to do that. There was a good customer in today asking about Lodolite. And I'm like, you know what? My brain's not working today. And I'm like, but I will tell you, it is good for journeying and astral travel, but the chemical wise body. And I'm like, brain forgot that. But I'm like, it is also called, dreamer quartz, shamanic quartz. And I named like 3 of them, and he's Googling, he goes, oh, also garden quartz. And I'm like, yes, it is also garden quartz. And I'm like, it gets renamed, put out, it's a new crystal. And I'm like, no, it's not. That is just Lodolite in quartz. Like, quit calling it something different.
Yeah.
I'm the ball humbug when it comes to that. And I'm like, quit trying to charge 3 times as much for acetaminophen versus Tylenol. Like, stop it.
But that's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
serpentine jade or infinite. It's the same freaking rock. Stop it. I could go on. Anyway.
There are variations, though. There are variations in serpentine jade and infinite. Infinite has a little more asbestos in it than serpentine jade, which is why which is why infinite itself, the man who had the mine died, and nobody wants to touch that mine because it has asbestos in it. It's asbestos in it. So there is a slight difference. It's just like we're all humans, but some of us have different skin colors. We all have different skin color, but we're all humans. It is serpentine jade, but there is a slight difference because it has more asbestos in it, and it's which makes it sometimes a little more gray, and the green is a little bit different. But it is a jade.
Yeah. So that's like the second bingo card. Like, what common stone's going to get a new name this year and put all over the place, and the price jacked up. Now, one of the other stones that we were going to talk about, more common, lapis. Lapis. I feel like lapis hasn't been talked about in a while, of how helpful healing lapis is. A lot of throat work, a lot of speak work, and also understanding what is being told to you. So that comprehension in that communication. So I think that's an important part that gets forgotten when people are wanting to work on their communication, and they automatically assume that they only ever have to open the throat chakra. But I'm like, but are you taking the time to comprehend what is being relayed to you? To have effective communication both ways. And that usually will get them to go, oh.
Right. And are you communicating with integrity and from your heart? I think it's important to connect the communication with the heart. I think the wonderful thing about, and a lot of people I don't think are aware of this, but the medicine Buddha in Buddhist tradition, when you visualize medicine Buddha and call upon medicine Buddha, or if you have a medicine Buddha statue, they being anybody who has been given the rights to in Buddhist tradition, they're not sealed until a whole ritual ceremony is done over it, and they are they're the word that comes to mind is they're stuffed, but they're filled with stones inside them, and then they're sealed shut. And in the medicine Buddha blue, the medicine Buddha's I don't know what this is technically called, their cap, it will be blue. But the medicine Buddha, when you do medicine Buddha meditation, the medicine Buddha itself is lapis, and the Buddhist tradition is the lapis, which is medicine Buddha. He is lapis. It is actually lapis. So lapis is a very sacred stone in the Buddhist tradition because it represents medicine Buddha. And what is the medicine? And the medicine is the healing and the understanding. And your ability, as you said, Melissa, is the ability to understand what is being said helps you to be able to, words matter, and to be able to get to what's behind the word so that you can integrate what is being said with the whole essence of your body and allow the healing to come through the words that are either being communicated or that are being received. But the medicine Buddha, and I have, by the grace of God, I do have a medicine Buddha. He's not a big one, he's a little one. And I do know that when it was given to the Buddhist monks to initiate for me, it was stuffed with lapis. And if you can get a mala, if you happen to pray on a mala, a lapis mala is a beautiful thing to pray on, because you're working with the lapis. Now, somewhere up in here, I can tell you what the chemical is in lapis. It's not coming forth. The computer's a little slow up there in terms of what it is that works with the body in terms of the chemical within the lapis.
So primarily composed of blue silicate, mineral lazurite, mixed with white calcite and gold-flecked pyrite, and may contain sodalite, diopside, mica, and hyanite. I don't think I said the last one correctly. Hauynite.
Sounds right to me.
The vibrant blue color comes from lazurite, a complex sodium, calcium, aluminum sulfosilicate, while pyrite adds the metallic gold specks and calcite forms the white streaks or patches.
And the interesting thing is, if you understand, pyrite is a great stone for grounding. And the lapis, the blue, actually works with the upper chakras. And the reason I'm looking off is because this is all I'm trying to visualize so that my brain can explain to you when I'm trying to explain. I have to see visions. So the lapis being the blue, but the pyrite allows that material to, from an energetic standpoint, for you to be able to take the thought process, because the blues work there's that whole is working spiritually in the spiritual, the upper chakras, but the pyrite works with the lower chakras, so that all of that spirituality can then, because we live on the earth plane, allows that growth, that spirituality, that healing to take place, but to be able to manifest it into the earth plane, into the reality. And pyrite is a really good, so you've got the two ends of the spectrum. So thank you because you will see a lot of pyrite in lapis. It is the gold specks, or fool's gold, as most people call it. And so an understanding that pyrite is an earth stone, with the lapis being able to be like an air stone, to be able to pull that into the reality is really, thank you for pointing that out, because that helped me be able to associate how the lapis works, to be able to bring into, from the mental processes into the physical process, so that you can actually physically manifest the healing that the lapis or the medicine Buddha gives to you through lapis.
Now, what part would the calcite be playing?
Well, the calcite, so calcite is very important for the bone structure and giving you strength, and being able to take that spirituality and make it part of your core, so that you have a strong physical core to be able to incorporate the healing and grounding it, so that there's a strength between the two chakras, the two realms, and you've got a core strength to be able to carry that. Because calcium is very important. Calcium, it grows our hair, it grows our nails, it grows our bones, our teeth. That's all calcium. And I'm trying to think in German New Medicine, which is all very new to me the last couple of years, but calcium may be one of the first 4 minerals that is in the development. So it's a very important stone to help with physical development. And I may be making that up. I'm not exactly sure, or I am maybe remembering it, because it's really interesting. In German New Medicine, it talks about how our cells form, and there's four original cellular development that develops the 4 different layers in the body. And calcium, I think, is one of the original minerals that is in our development when we're in vitro. And that's our core. You know, that's our backbone. Literally, it's the backbone of our being. And so the calcium helps us to be able to integrate that healing, and allowing it to be a core fundamental acceptance of the healing that's taking place, so that we can manifest it. And in manifesting it, it allows us to be stronger, both physically, mentally, morally, financially, in every which way that the medicine Buddha works with us.
So I had to open yet another Google tab when you're like, those important minerals for in utero development. And I'm like, hold please. Folate, folic acid, iron, calcium, phosphorus, and zinc.
Okay,
and
so calcium, phosphorus is the calcite. That's because calcite is the number one. Is a Ca, and Ca is calcium. So there's where that's where the calcium comes in, because it's the calcite. Calcite is a calcium-based mineral. It's the biggest calcium-based mineral.
so that you were remembering correctly.
Well, thank you. Good. Okay, good. Thank you. It still works. It still works. And the interesting thing about calcite, which goes back to the healing capabilities of lapis, if there's any diabetics out there, calcium is a really important stone that helps with diabetics. And it's really funny because in the beginning, before Eric would be part of the buying process, I would like, okay, you get to pick any stone. This is before you hoarded them. You get to pick any stone out of my buying trip that you want, and it's yours. And 99.9% of the time, he picked out something that helped. One of the stones was calcium that helps heal diabetes. And I was like, see how this works? You don't have any idea of what you're picking. And yet I would be like, yeah, that's for diabetes. And that helps with diabetes. And that is something, he's got all this collect. So, I mean, it's really this whole process. People out there really trust the process. If your body wants that stone, honor that and give it to you.
Mm-hmm. So a friend of ours over on Twitch, hello Popcorn, says, hello, been a lurky turkey. Is there a stone tied to dreams and does it affect memory?
There is a dream stone. It's a hard stone to get because the woman who there's two stones and I can see them and I choose to remember the names of them. Bogie stones. And they come from Kansas. They're not Bogie. They're similar to Bogie stones, but they're both dream state stones. But the Bogie stones, the Native Americans would put them under their pillow. Come to me, please. The Native Americans actually physically put them underneath their pillows or underneath where their head would sleep because it would help stimulate the dream state. They also would throw them into the fireplace because they would pop. It's Bogie stone. And I'm trying to go through my labels. They would throw them into the fire pits and they would burst to release the dreams, to help you with the dream state. And I have, they're between my mattress and my box spring. The Bogie stone and the woman who owns the land. And they're supposed to be bought in pairs because the male and the female, and they're not supposed to be kept in drawers because they're actually, I think it's more of a fossilization. They could actually die and shrivel up and sort of disintegrate. The Bogie stone, and what's it? Some people call it Kansas pop rock, but it's not. That's because they come from Kansas. And this woman who, she's very protective of her property. Very protective, like shotgun protective of her property.
Most often referred to as Kansas pop rock Bogie stones, unique pyrite consecrations from Niobrara chalk. Sold in male-female pairs for energy work, but Kansas also used beautiful quartz geodes in the Flint Hills. Now it's telling me what else is carried in Kansas.
But there's another stone. It's not just the Bogie stone. There's because when you cut it, it looks like the inside of a Reese's peanut butter cup. But it's the Bogie stone is a pyrite based, but the other stone, it's iron ore on the outside, and it's like fossilized sand on the inside, which makes me want to eat it because when you cut it, because I wanted to just cut it. I had one cut, and I was like, oh my God, that's a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Now, while you try to remember that, Popcorn, if you also want to make sure you're remembering what you are dreaming, if you get the herb mugwort and put it in a bag, you can even put it in a Ziploc plastic bag because it's not always the greatest smelling, and just having it underneath the pillow will help you remember your dreams. If when you say, does it affect memory? If it's to help remember what you're dreaming, just put mugwort by your pillow, and that'll help you remember what you're dreaming. I am like mentally going through every stone and rock in the store, what I may have been out of. Now I've seen the Boji stones called also shamanic stones, because
Mhm.
everything's a shamanic stone. Um,
Well, they really are if you understand that shamans work with the energy and the stones work with the energy. So they are all shamanic stones.
right, but this is back to that whole take
Right, right. No, I know where you were going, but I was like, but if you really do understand what they really do, they're all shamanic.
yeah, yeah.
Just like, yeah, they're
But
crazy. Like,
and then like howlite will help for easy sleep, so that can help with dreaming.
and
If you
howlite's really hard to find because a wonderful little country uses all of that and dyes it to look like turquoise.
yeah,
Mm.
that's
So you have
one
to
way
be really,
to make sure you have true turquoise, especially if it's strung in beads. Like pull that string back and look on the inside, and a lot of times it'll still be white because it's really dyed howlite.
right.
Um,
That's a very good point. For those of you who do buy beads, yes.
Here's a good question for both of you ladies. How do we tell a dream from a vision?
Is there a difference?
I
Is there a
don't
difference?
see a difference. There's no difference.
So, a dream, I guess we could sort of separate the two. A dream happens when you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
A vision can happen at any time. But aren't they both, if you look at a, maybe to help you, I don't remember the name of the person who, maybe the different, a vision is actually a photograph of something that is going to happen. A dream interprets something that's either going to happen or interprets with the dream interpretation. Well, the vision has to be interpreted as well,
Mm-hmm.
really. But
Mm-hmm.
a dream, to me, if you want to, my first reaction is there really a difference? But if you want to make a difference, a dream happens when you're in an altered state of sleep. A vision, I mean, you could be sitting here and you could have a vision, and I don't have to be dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that might be a little bit different, and this might be splitting hairs, is a vision is going to be something that's being shown to you that's going to happen in the future, where a dream is trying to make you aware of an emotion or an interpretation. I know a very important dream. One of the only dreams I remember I had was trying to tell me about the relationship that I was in, and that I really, thank you very much, Moldavite, because Moldavite was hanging on my bed when I had this vision, in terms of making me aware of, in my subconscious, when I went to interpret that, made me aware of what was happening in my conscious world. And a vision might be something that you're seeing that's coming at you that hasn't happened yet, where a dream is making you aware of something that's going on in your conscious world, while your subconscious is trying to make you aware consciously of, hey, this, you need to be aware of this, or I want you to know this. So that might be some help to the person who asked the question of the difference between a dream and a vision. But I think but the important thing is both are telling you something. Both are trying to tell you something. They're both coming at you. Your subconscious is trying to come up into your conscious world to make you aware of whatever it is that your soul wants you to know. And I'm not saying it's good, it's bad, it's indifferent. It's just giving you an awareness, whether it's through a vision or a dream.
Side tangent. It is usually easier for loved ones that have crossed over to communicate in a dream state versus a waking vision state. So that could be another distinction between the two. And that's a lot of reasons why people kind of want to remember their dreams once they learn that, because they want to reconnect with a loved one that is passed on and crossed over. You want to remember if grandma comes, visits, mom and dad comes to visit, what do they have to say? So Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings, meet your tribe here for the woo-woo and the paranormal stuff. We're here.
So because I come in through this side, I've never listened to you. How do I listen to you live when I'm not part of it?
You can go to our YouTube, or you can go to the Goddess Elite Facebook page. We're also on Goddess Elite's Twitch, so you can join us on all three of those and be able to comment. And we put up comments like popcorns and calaveras, and when Lisa was with us, and yeah.
So I can on Tuesday nights go to the Goddess Elite page and just click on so we're live on your Facebook page right now.
Everything is evidence, so don't say anything incriminating right now. Everything is live and evidence. But we'll have a good night, everybody. Stay warm, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.